Hello, school leaders. Welcome to day two of Luxury Leadership. Are you guys ready? I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. For those of you attending live, welcome. And for those of you watching the replay, welcome. It is an honor to be here with you tonight, and I appreciate you uh, coming to this wonderful new course hosted by the Empowered Principal. So, for those of you who are brand new to the Empowered Principal world, this is a brand new master course. This is day two. If you haven't seen day one, go ahead and this is a free master class, so everybody has access to it. So you can just simply watch the first replay. And if you need access to that, you can email me, angelakellycoaching@gmail.com, or just jump on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm all over. And let me know that you'd like to register. And once you register for the Zoom links, you will have access to everything. All right. So let's dive into day two. And again, if you are new here, I'm Angela Kelly. I am a former teacher, educator, site leader, district leader. I was an instructional coach. I was a reading specialist. And now, for the last 8 years, I have been coaching site and district leaders. And I've worked with state leaders. I've worked with county leaders. I have worked with assistant superintendents all the way down to aspiring school leaders. So I have a passion for the school leadership experience and the impact that all of you create. And I know how hard the job is. I did the job for 7 years. 6 years at the site district or site leadership in two different positions. And then I went up to the district level and I was a district level administrator. And so I'm with you. I'm celebrating with you. And I know the challenges and the frustrations and the hard work that it takes to expand your capacity to be a leader. So the first session, we really talked about what luxury is. We explored what luxury was. We explored education. We were like, how do these two even fit together? Is luxury and leadership even a thing? And the concept of luxury and leadership, but also what the different facets of leadership and the different facets of luxury. Because luxury just isn't for the exclusive. It isn't just for something that's very expensive. There are simple luxuries that we have in our life, and there are what I call essential luxuries. And I believe that education is an essential luxury. So I have to tell you a little background on this. And I mentioned this on day one, but I want to talk about it on day two because I'm contemplating this work, this content in real time. And this idea came to me a while back, but I wasn't ready to articulate it. I was looking for a way to articulate the connection between desiring a luxury experience as a school leader and how that positively impacts leadership, how it impacts your staff, your students, your school community, your district. So it's taken me a while to look for a way to articulate this content. And even though I understood the importance cognitively, like intellectually, it was hard for me to take time to connect it in a way that makes sense. So I'm evolving this work in real time because I believe in lifelong learning. I believe in personal and professional development at the lifelong level. And I really believe that our work, what you do today, expands who you're going to be tomorrow. And who you're being today is a representation of what you learned yesterday. So we're kind of in this, paradigm of the past, the future, and the present, past, the present, and the future. And we are becoming a school leader every single day. My work as a coach today impacts how I'm leading this tonight, and how I'm leading this tonight will impact the coach that I am tomorrow for my clients tomorrow. The same is true with you. The person you're being right here watching this, whether it's live or on the replay, The version of you that's watching this will be impacted as you're contemplating and thinking and evolving yourself because you're evolving right here, right now. It will impact your experience tomorrow and the experiences of those you interact with tomorrow. So it became very clear to me that now was the time here in December. And I know there's a lot going on. I know a lot of people have expressed interest in this program, but feel there's too many other things going on. Free registration, you can register and then you have access to it. When you become an EPC member, you'll have access for as long as you're a member. So it's not to worry about the time that you watch this. Now was the time for me to present it. I felt called to present it in December. So if you're watching the replay of this, it's December of 2025. We're wrapping up the calendar year of 2025 and we're entering into the calendar year of 2026. And I felt very called to create a new program right here at the end of the calendar year in the mid-year of school leadership, but it felt like the right time. It I feel like December gives us a little extra permission as humans and as leaders. There's a luxuriousness to the season. There's the simple luxuries of December where we're celebrating the end of the year, we're contemplating, we're reviewing, we're reflecting back. It's the celebrations of the holiday season. It's kind of a mid-year point for us. We have break coming up, so there's a lot of things that we celebrate as as a school community, and as school leaders. And that energy, I feel like the delight of the holidays, they're kind of magical. They feel luxurious. They feel plentiful. And we're celebrating, we're honoring, whatever in whatever ways you honor life, your family, your friends, love, appreciation, gratitude. The volume is turned up in December. So it feels like this is the right time to be having this conversation and to be connecting with you in this energy of excitement, enthusiasm, celebration, and luxury. It's really inviting us to tap into, the past year and the possibilities that lie for us in our future. So today we're going to focus on talking about the balance of luxury, the duality of luxury, the polarity of luxury. Okay. But I want to start off by talking about the value of luxury. And I want to say up front that luxury may be kind of a triggering word for people. It may feel kind of offensive or kind of repulsive or kind of resistant. You might feel some resistance to it. And I want to offer, just plant a seed. You don't have to take on this thought if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. If it doesn't feel safe, you can not try it on. But I would like to consider that luxury is not selfish. Desiring an exciting, fulfilling, satisfying, productive, magnetic, charismatic experience of school leadership, it's not selfish. To feel like you've had the luxury of being a school leader, the luxury of leading a school, the luxury of working with your staff and your students in your school community, for the job to feel luxurious. That's not selfish at all. In fact, it's serving. Luxury is not selfish. Luxury is serving. Because if you think about what would I be doing if my experience were more luxurious, is you would be contemplating like how to enhance our experience, not just for you, but for your entire community. So considering and contemplating what a luxurious experience in school leadership would look like for you, what a luxurious experience for your students would be, what a luxurious experience for teachers would be, it enhances the entire experience for the community. It's how we show up. as the leader, when we invite, like, what would be luxurious to have? Let's make that happen. This would feel great. My teachers used to say, like, you know what would be luxury is having like a barista in the staff lounge or having a coffee, like some kind of fancy coffee maker in the coffee lounge, right? And what's crazy about that is that our PTA said, well, I don't know that we can spend, we're not going to raise $5,000 for this big machine, but we can hire a barista for the day. And they hired a barista to come in with their fancy machinery. And there were little order forms on the door handles of each classroom with an order form. And I still remember it. The teachers could order whatever coffee they wanted, just like they were at a coffee shop. They could order what they wanted. They put it on their order form, and then someone came and picked up the order forms, and then the barista made the coffees and then delivered them by grade level. And they did this all day long. So people could get a coffee at their break, they could get coffee at lunch. This person was here until around 2 o'clock. So they got this luxurious experience. And it's not that if we had a barista every single day, it wouldn't feel as luxurious, right? It would just be standard, right? It's like having a soda machine. It's like if you want a soda, there's one available. If you don't want one, not a big deal. But the luxury of having somebody come in and special make a coffee for the teachers on one day of the year was magic. And that's just one form of luxury, right? It's like but you're in gratitude, you're in appreciation. It feels so abundant, it feels luxurious, right? And when we think about what are the luxuries we would like to experience in school leadership, we're not just talking about, having all of the things at our fingertips. We're talking about the energetic experience that we have as a human, like what it feels like to walk on our campus and be proud of who we are, what we stand for, the people we work with, the work that goes into those classrooms, and the commitment of our teachers and the commitment of our students, and the fun and the celebrations and the learning that's happening, and the engagement of our staff and our students and our communities. When families walk in proud that they send their children to this school, that's luxury. It's a win, 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 win. It projects out into the ethers. And then the experience of today, if you are having a luxury experience, the way that you show up, the way that you treat people, the way that you speak to them, the way you engage impacts their experience. And now they're having a more luxurious experience of their principle. And how you act today is the memory that they create, and and then they have future, like a positive expectation, anticipation of additional future positive interactions, right? Like when you have an interaction with somebody for the very first time, you don't know what to expect. You're like, I don't know. But then let's say this person is very loving and kind, and they're interested in you, and they're engaging, and they're listening to you, and they're genuinely interested in your passions and your school leadership conversations and what you have to say and what you think. And they just embrace all of you, and you just feel so held and seen and loved and enjoyed in that moment. It feels like they really cared. Your anticipation of the next interaction with them is going to be very positive. And you're thinking about them in a more luxurious way. Even though you're not with them in this moment, in the here and now today, you're anticipating that the next interaction with them is going to be lovely. Right? And the memory of that first experience, you'll always remember that first experience. That becomes the story, the narrative that gets written. And we get to be that person for everybody we interact with. That's luxury. So there is a desire that we have for luxury. And this is where it can feel a little conflicting. And just hold that pressure for right now. Stick with me here for a minute, okay? Because I know it's uncomfortable. I feel it in my chest when I talk about it too, because of what we've been taught luxury means or doesn't mean, and who it's for and who it's not for, and if you should want it and if you shouldn't want it, and who gets to have it and who doesn't. But just hold a little bit of pressure with me right now, okay? Humans were wired to desire luxury. We were born with it. As little tiny babies, we were born into the world expecting luxury, expecting to be held, expecting to be loved, expecting looking for mom and dad to care for us. There was no other way. We expected to be fed, to be held, to be changed, to be bathed, to be caressed, to be, swaddled, to be rocked, to be, put to bed, to be picked up. We've always desired the luxury of living, the luxuries of life, the essential luxuries. And there are different forms of luxury in different time frames of our life. So, as a child, right, when you think back to your childhood, you experienced the desire for, a friend, to go to the park, to go outside, to have a cookie, to get a treat, to, you walk through the department store, Target, and you want a toy. You want to take a trip. You want to go to the water park. You want your mom to take you to the pool. Or you want to go to your friend's house and have a play date. Right? Very simple luxuries, just what I would call essential luxuries. They're luxuries every kid wants, every human wants. They desire to be engaged, to love, to play. And then we grow into like our preteen and teen years. And now we have the awareness of our peers and a little more awareness of the world. So we're desiring, peer relationships. They become very important. We desire, being accepted by our peers. We desire certain friendships. And then we get into puberty and we desire romantic relationships. We start having an interest and a curiosity about more romantic relationships. We start to have a desire within us for a different kind of love and connection, however that love looks, whoever you're attracted to. But that is wired within us. We're supposed to have desire for luxury, the luxury of love, the luxury of being loved, the luxury of loving someone else. I remember like desiring so badly my driver's license, right? We got our permit and you could drive with your parents or whatever the rules were back then. In the 70s, they probably let you drive your own car. But we got a permit, which probably allowed us to drive with an adult. And then for me, back in the 80s, at the age of 16, in my state, we were allowed to get our driver's license. I desired that so badly. Now think about this. As a 15-year-old, 15 and 11 months, right? I thought about my license day and night. I dreamt about it. I thought about it. As soon as I was eligible to schedule a DMV appointment to get that license, it was on the books for the day of my birthday because I did not want to wait one more day. I desired that experience. So the current me that was 15 was anticipating that luxury. I was desiring it. I didn't have it yet, but I was already living it through my mind. I was feeling the feelings of what it was. I was anticipating what it was going to feel like to be able to drive on my own. And then once I got the license, so, my past self, I always knew I would get a license one day. But the anticipation of the license, the desire for it was half of the fun. Just like when you go on vacation, you anticipate that vacation, you desire it. You feel the feelings of the trip in advance. And sometimes those feelings are actually better than the real experience. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. But you desire it. And then when you get it, when you just get something you really desire, it feels like a bazillion dollars. It just like feels like the best day in the world, the best experience in the world. We want those experiences as adults in our career, but we're not thinking about our career in that way. Therefore, we're not really creating those experiences or generating them. So then once I got the license, then I wanted the car. Then I had a desire for a car. So I worked. I upped my hours. I was working at the local grocery store. I worked around 20 to 30 hours a week, and I was a full-time student, and I was babysitting, and I was in a program called Upward Bound, which was a college prep program, and I was in marching band. So I was doing all of the things in order to get that car. I had a deep desire for the car. And then from there, and because of that, right, it's like, and because of this, I got my license. And because of that desire, wanted the car and I got the car. And then because of that, I asked for a later curfew. I, the teen years were much more peer related luxuries, right? I wanted the friends, I wanted the relationships, I wanted to be able to go on dates. I needed to get my license. My parents had a rule like you had to be 16 before you went out on a solo date by yourself with a boy. And then we got the car, like all of that peer stuff. There were luxuries that I desired to have. Now, there were luxuries that I desired in my teen years that I didn't get, but there are luxuries that I did get. And then we go into adulthood, right? And then there are different luxuries. We start looking at like money, income, title, positions that we get, status, kind of personal agency, personal freedom, independence. And then we get into our careers and we start thinking about the luxury of making an impact, the luxury of 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 influence and impact and accomplishment and success. And we have that form of luxury, but we also, once we do that for a while, then we're looking for the luxury of simplicity and calm, quiet, peaceful time. We want the luxury of time. We've been, we were working to have these luxuries, and now we want the other luxuries, time and space, flexibility in our schedule, maybe location independence. So we have different luxuries that we desire depending on our identity at the time, depending on our development, depending on the type of impact we want to create, whether that's individual impact, peer impact, social impact, global impact, and based on the experiences we want to have. So desire in and of itself is pure. It's clean. There's no good, bad, right, wrong that comes with it. And yet we have feelings about desire that can feel bad. So we have feelings about the desire for luxury, feelings about the desire to have what we want. And is it wrong to experience the desire for luxury? So when we're young, we're kind of unaware. We just have this desire and we just believe like, I want this because it feels good. It's going to make me happy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be engaging. It's just kind of like how it's going to feel. I desire it because it will feel good. It will bring me joy. It will bring me laughter, fun, connection, and experience, engaging, life, just interesting. And then when we're teens, we become more socially aware. We start to see this luxury as like the haves or have-nots. And depending on what we were taught, right? It, in some families, we were taught that luxury was a bad thing, that people with luxury equals people with money equals not good people. They lose touch. They're not in touch with reality, or they're not kind anymore. They're entitled now, or they don't know what it's like to be a real person. They just kind of lose their humanity. Or luxury is kind of a sin because it's immoral. We should be giving it to somebody else to have. Questions of like worthiness. Are we worthy of having this? Do I deserve this? Should I be gifting it to somebody else? Is there a zero-sum game here? Is it if I have this, then somebody else loses? And if I have it, am I taking it away from somebody who needs it? And then our guilt will creep in and we might get shamed for expressing that desire. Like as a teen or as a younger child, maybe you express these desires and your parents are like, hey, that's a little selfish. That's a little too much. Other kid, there's starving children in another country, right? Our desire for luxury gets dimmed or blown out like a candle, or we get shamed for it, and then we internalize that. And we think, oh, we shouldn't have luxury. Either I'm not worthy of it or it's not appropriate. And we might secretly still desire it because we really do want it, but we don't want to be a bad person. And we don't want to make our parents upset. And we don't want to look selfish and greedy and unkind and dismissive towards other people. And then if we want it and we express that we want it, we might be embarrassed because we might get shunned or shamed or ostracized by our social circles. So then there's this relationship brewing with luxury, which feels like a problem. And we associate shame or guilt or selfishness around desire. So I was thinking right before this call, I started thinking about what is this about the shame that we have around desire, particularly when we desire something luxurious. Like we desire something luxurious for our staff. We want our staff to have more planning time. What a luxury. Or we desire for them to have paraprofessional support in the classroom. What a luxury. Or we want them to have a barista. Or we want, an assistant principal for ourselves, or a dean of students, or an instructional coach. What a luxury to have that bandwidth to double down on instructional leadership. But there is some shame associated with desiring a luxury that you want. And I thought about this, like, why would a person, doesn't matter who did it, whether it's parents or, some kind of leader or mentor in your life, adult mentor when you were a kid, or even, peer to peer or your boss, or anybody. But somebody who tends to have positional authority over you, so like a parent or a mentor, a religious person or a coach or like one of your coaches, like a sports coach or anybody who's out there. And you can feel this. You probably have a memory of this, right? Where you desired something or you asked for something and maybe you got shamed for it. Now, I thought to myself, why would a person shame someone for wanting to have an enjoyable experience, an enjoyable life, a luxurious experience? Why would somebody want another person not to have that? Why would a parent not want their kid to have a luxury in life? Well, they'll be entitled, they'll become a brat, they'll be a little spoiled brat, or they won't appreciate it, or people will see them differently, treat them differently, or well, I didn't have it and I lived. They'll be just fine without it. They can suffer right along with me, right? People, they think either they believe that you can't have it and they want to protect you, or that you shouldn't have it and they want to protect you. So if they couldn't have it and they shouldn't have had it, then you shouldn't have it or you can't have it. So there's this kind of, well, if I couldn't have it, you couldn't have it. Or they wanted something when they were younger and they got disappointed. They either didn't get it or they were shamed. And so they feel like, oh, when someone, expresses a desire for some kind of luxury experience, let me shut it down because that's what you're supposed to do. Or they were so disappointed and so hurt that they don't want their child to experience the pain of disappointment. They want to bubble wrap them. Right? Which is interesting because we're actually giving the luxury of not feeling disappointment versus saying, go for it, go for what you want, and you might get it. and then celebrating if they do receive that type of luxury in their life. Or if they're if they go for it and they're disappointed, then they learn the bandwidth to feel disappointment and then move on and keep going for it, right? Sometimes we've been taught it's immoral or wrong, and that's basically like that zero sum game, like where if you have it, somebody else can't. Somebody's gain, your gain is somebody's loss. That's where you kind of feel really guilty. You feel bad if you believe that's true. And then if it's kind of this, and the flip of that is kind of like if you decide, oh, okay, I don't want that, I don't need it, then somebody else gets to have it and somebody else can receive it. So I believe this comes down to the intention behind our desire. So, what's the reason for wanting a better experience? What's the reason for wanting to become a stronger school leader? What's your reason for it? Why do you want to be happier, experience more joy, expand your capacity for influence and impact, create a legacy? What's the intention behind it? What's the why? Why are we doing it? Is it to help or to harm? Right? Are we doing this? Are we creating an experience because it feels good for us, and when we feel good, we lead better? Or is it, I want to feel good because I don't feel good about myself right now, and because I don't feel good, I want to feel better. And so if I feel better, then I can not have to deal with the part that I don't like. Or I want this because I want to look the part. I want it to look like I'm leading, look like I'm luxurious, look like I'm having a happier, better, more fulfilled experience. Or do I want to look the part so that others can admire me and wish that they had what I had? So is the intention to not just experience joy for ourselves, but to then share that and to use it to leverage leadership in the world, in your school? Is it helping? Are we asking for it? We're desiring it because we want to leverage it to help and amplify our messages and our impact? Is it because we want to show off and we want to feel important and we want it to look like luxury? Because the frequency of truth is always the loudest. It's not what it looks like, it's what it is. So the intention matters. So, in its purest form, the reason you would ever desire to create a more luxurious experience, professionally and personally, is because of the emotional experience we have with it. So, when when we're when we're in a moment of having something that is a luxury, it feels like a luxury. We know it's a luxury. We acknowledge it. We embrace it. We're grateful for it. Those feelings, those emotions like abundance and gratitude, satisfaction, fulfillment, appreciation, joy, delight, those emotions are what we're going for because emotions are fuel. And when we're fueled with these higher vibration feelings, right? The feel good feels when you're feeling on top of the world and really productive and really zippy and really locked in with and you're really aligned to your mission and you're going for it and you're getting things done for that day. You know that feeling? That's what we're looking for. We want more of that. Why? Because it serves better. It helps us serve better. The energy of luxury is a higher frequency. You know, the days where you're like low energy, womp womp. You don't feel good. Maybe physically you're super exhausted. You've run yourself ragged. Maybe you've got a little something, cold brewing. And so you kind of wear your sweatshirt for that day. Like, can I, you put on like your comfiest clothes. You're not looking your best. Maybe you didn't do your makeup full on today. You just threw on some lip gloss and I've done this. You put on the, Mascara and the lip gloss, call it a day. Go. That's it. Low vibration days, lower energy days. What we crave is those higher vibration days. So once we've kind of dismantled like that it's safe to desire luxury and it's okay, like you have permission to desire the luxury, what blocks us from expanding our capacity to receive it, to allow it in our lives? What I have found in myself and in my clients is that it is the duality of luxury. There's a polarity of luxury that occurs. And we don't really take this into consideration. So, with the luxury, let me take the like, I remember coaching a client a few years ago, and she was aching to have an assistant principal. She was the only pr elementary principal in her entire district that didn't have an assistant. And I believe that they were trying to find one. There was somebody left, and then there was an opening. They couldn't find anybody. It was not because she was being isolated or excluded from having one. It's just that there was a year of not having one. And she probably, if I remember correctly, had an AP, which was the luxury, and then didn't have it, and then had to double down on the work and really felt the loss of that luxury and was aching for it. But in that journey, while she coached with me for several years, so before, during, and after all of this, but on that journey, they hired somebody who they thought would be a fit, and she was just grateful to have somebody. But then the person wasn't a fit for the job. It wasn't a match. I call it a want match, where you want them, they want you, it's a match, and it clicks. It wasn't the click that they were looking for. So the luxury of having it was, yes, you had a person in the position, but there was a duality to the luxury, right? So with the experience of a luxury, there is a balance that comes with it, right? So think of things outside of school. The luxury of travel, which it to me, I absolutely love to travel, but there is a balance that comes with travel. Sometimes when you travel, there are delays, there are cancellations, there are weather-related events, there's turbulence. They double book your seat. They move you even though you've paid for your seat. And that's just on the airlines, right? When you're traveling, maybe you're in your own car, but you've got to stop and get gas, or maybe there's a delay, or there's a detour, or there's weather related. You have to pull over. You don't want to drive during a tornado or something, right? There is a there is a cost or a balance associated with the experience of luxury, right? So if we have the luxury of lots of money, let's say, because a lot of people associate luxury with money, to have a lot of money in your life also means the responsibility and ownership of that money, of the responsibility of caring for it, of being a good steward of that money, using money to amplify light, love, you know, in the world. So when we are thinking about luxury, at the time we want it, we're just thinking about the part that is the good part that fulfills us. We're not always thinking about what comes with that, all that's associated with it. And that's something I really had to expand on, because here's the thing. We can easily receive the good half of the luxury, the part that we're like, yes, this is what I'm imagining. This is how it's going to feel like going on this vacation. Vacation's the perfect example. When we imagine vacation, we're thinking about bliss, sun, fun in the sun, pool time, pina coladas, getting caught in the rain, walking on the beach. We just imagine just perfection, this idyllic beautiful tropical experience if that's your favorite kind of holiday, right? Whatever your holiday is, but you imagine it just going smoothly. And then the reality of the luxury of going on vacation, because it's still an incredible luxury to go on a vacation. It might come with some some delays at the airport, or somebody luggage got lost, or, they had to switch your room because, the air conditioner broke, whatever, right? Sometimes there are little hiccups in our luxury experience. And can we hold space for and allow those hiccups to happen, but still appreciate and receive all the fact that it actually is a luxury to go on vacation? And we forget that sometimes. Have you been with somebody who you've gone on vacation with them or you traveled with them and all they do is notice what's going wrong? They complain and complain, and the food's not good, or this was on time, or this was late, or the room's not big enough, or we don't have a good view, or blah, 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 that, the service was slow. That chips away at the luxurious experience. And we do this in education. We have luxuries that have just become normalized. And then we just start to like, well, this and that, and we complain a little bit, or we chip away at the fact that it's a luxury. So if you have an AP who's brilliant, you cherish them with all your heart. But you can also take them for granted and not be in appreciation. And then it's no longer a luxury because you're not in the energy of luxury. You're not in the good feelings of luxury. Now you're just in the what's not working energy. You're down in the lower vibes, right? So this is what I call luxury dissonance, where it's like we want the good stuff, but we don't want the bad stuff. So I'll take an AP only if they're perfect. But I don't want to have to like mentor them or meet with them or I just want them to I just want them to go out and like go do their job. I'm too busy to like hold your hand, to be holding your hand. So I want the part of the luxury that feels easier, better, and more enjoyable, but I don't want the part that requires any kind of work or discomfort. So there's a duality we have going on here, right? And this is how we kind of bring it all in. Luxury isn't about it's not as much about what you have at your school. It's about how you feel about what you have. Do you feel the luxury of your amazing teachers? Do you feel satisfied with the students who are learning and progressing and happily engaged and who aren't fighting, who are being good citizens and model students? Do we appreciate the bus drivers? Are we grateful for the fact that we have yard duty when other schools, the teachers are doing it? Excuse me. Right? So the luxury isn't as much about what the particulars of what we have, it's about how we feel when we have them. And holding the pressure of the duality of luxury. When we have what we want and it requires a little bit of effort to have it, a little bit more responsibility. So there's having the luxury and then holding space for the duality of it. But then there's also holding the pressure as a school leader to have desires we don't have yet. So when people say it's not possible for you to, you know, create a culture that's celebrates failure, why would we do that? Okay, I'm gonna hold the pressure that there's pressure on the outside of your desire. People are like, no, you can't have it. No, you shouldn't have it. You shouldn't desire that. That's selfish. They're gonna have opinions, and those opinions are pressure. Can you hold strong to that? While you're getting external pressure, can you hold the desire for the belief that it's possible to create that luxury at your school, right? Is it possible to create a culture where everybody's not suffering all day long and just trying to race to the end of the day to feel some relief? Or are we able to like hold the belief that it's possible to work hard and be satisfied, even if there's hiccups in the day? It's allowing the tension of desiring something, that anticipation of it, and desiring that about what you don't yet have, while also continuing to appreciate the luxuries that you do already have. Because there's a certain pressure that comes with, think about this. There's a certain pressure that comes with being the lead principal versus the assistant principal. I've coached hundreds of APs, and they're like, yeah, at the end of the day, there is a little less pressure because I know the buck doesn't stop with me. It actually really stops with the lead principal. And then the lead principal is holding that pressure. It's a luxury to be the lead principal, but it comes with more responsibility. So there's a certain level of stress and tension that we all want to practice and learn how to hold. And there's a certain amount of pressure of the luxuries that we have accepted. So when we accept the luxury of an AP, there is a pressure to lead them. We're still their leader, even though they are an administrator. So we start to view, if we let ourselves do this, we can start to feel like the luxuries are now burdens. Well, like having all of this is just more. It's not a luxury. Now it's a burden. Now I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Well, you know, we start to lose the gratitude. We start to lose the appreciation for it. For the very thing we said we wanted, now it's a burden. Until we sit back and say, wait a minute, like, what about this is a luxury? How can I get back into luxury energy? The feelings of delight, satisfaction, joy, abundance, gratitude, fulfillment, right? And that we have seasons. There's different seasons of what luxuries we desire. So sometimes we desire to have lots of time and space. Like, don't want a lot on my calendar. I just want to be able to come in. You know, that morning when you wake up and you're like, oh, my calendar is, I only have like 2 meetings all day. So the calendar is nice and full and it feels really good. And you have the luxury of like coming in a little bit slower, getting a cup of coffee, talking with your office staff. Maybe you check your emails, you get your calendar ready for the day, and you just feel spaciousness. You go greet students, you get into classrooms, you connect, you're smiling at teachers, you're out for yard duty, you're serving pizza for lunch. Just the spaciousness of that day feels so luxurious. And then maybe you get to go home maybe going home at 4 o'clock today is a luxury. Because sometimes you're there until 8 or 9 or 10 because you've got an evening event. Right. And I think about high school, like they've got sporting events and music events, those go late. And as a little birdie who likes to go to bed early, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm literally, my brain is, I'm turned off right around 9 o'clock. Put me in my jammies, brush my teeth, and put me to bed. I'm done. So it's a luxury to be able to come home early once in a while. It's a luxury to have space in our day. And then other days, it feels like a luxury to have a full day. I can remember coming in when we called okay, what were they called? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. We had kid talks. We had these kid talk meetings. So we would hire subs back when there were subs. We would hire subs and we would have, I think we did kid talk. Yes, we did kid talk for 3 days in a row. So we'd have each grade level got a half a day. So the sub would do like morning, they would go to kinder, and then afternoon, they'd go to first grade. We would meet with the kindergarten team and we would have a half a day. We called it Kid Talk. We were going through and assessing what every single student in that grade level needed. We called it win time, what I need, what's working for them, where are we taking them. It was almost like creating individualized plans for every single student. And then we would, create plans, teaching plans based on kids that needed to be excelled, kids who were on grade level and moving forward, and kids who needed additional supports. I love those days, highly productive, not a minute to myself, right? I would have to, you barely eat, you're barely, getting to the restroom. You're just not really on campus, visible out there other than being in these meetings. I love those days too, a different kind of luxury. So different seasons, different luxuries, right? Winter and each like calendar season, each like planet season, right? We have spring, winter, fall, summer. Each of those is a different kind of luxury. So in the fall season, think of all the energy and the excitement, anticipation of the start of school. It's such a luxury. And then we have the fall dip, but then winter comes and it's quiet, magical. There's kind of a lull that happens usually. But there's also the excitement and the energy of the holiday season and the celebrations and the end of the year and then the mid-year reboot that's coming up in January. So we have different desires for different kinds of luxury. Sometimes we desire the luxury of festivities, and other times we desire the luxury of quiet and calm and contemplation and rest. So then we start to wonder, are both possible? As a school leader, because I know this question comes up in my coaching sessions all the time, can I have both of these forms of luxuries? There's kind of these internal luxuries I desire, like calm, peace, contentment, and these external luxuries that I desire. Is it possible to have both? Is it possible to have the materials my school needs and the resources we need, and also can I create an ease of managing those resources and managing those materials? Because for all the materials you get, more can be more. And if there's not a system for organizing it and managing it, the resources just become chaos and lost in the shuffle. Is it possible for me to be an accomplished principal, to have influence, impact, and legacy while also being a rested principal? Not being right, an exhausted principal. Can I contribute as a leader in my community, in my district? And can I also receive support? Can I give and receive? They're both luxuries. Contribution is a luxury. Feels so good to give. Receiving is also a luxury. To receive support, to receive the help when you need it, and also to be the receiver and receive in a way that allows the person who's giving to us the joy of giving. Can we do both? Do we have the capacity for both? Those are both different kinds of luxuries. Can we contribute and create impact and really go for it and be super productive, but also create the luxury of downtime and rest and recovery and play? Can we receive financial wealth, financial abundance in our life and work towards that and create an exchange of value in the world while also being able to play? Or is it all work and no play? So we attach meaning to all of these luxuries. When we want to be impactful, we want to earn, our most financial potential that we can. But we attach earning and receiving with working, with effort and time. It's like an equation. Like the more work plus the more effort plus the more time that you work equals more earning. We've been taught this. but it's not true. It can't be true. And the fastest way to dismantle that is there are humans on the planet who work less hours and make a lot more money. And every human's given 24/7 on the planet. And how is it that we're not making the same amount of money? How is time equal money? It doesn't work that way. Because if effort plus time plus the hours that you worked equaled a certain, guaranteed you a certain amount of income, then everyone working those amount of hours, giving this amount of effort for this amount of time would be making the same amount of money. That's not how it works. Money's an exchange of value, the value that we contribute. And we can feel very frustrated and very defeated when we cannot outwork to attract more luxury and a more luxurious experience. Or we work really hard and we get one type of luxury. Like maybe we work hard and work our way up and we have the luxury of title, status, power, and or position, and we make money, but we work so hard to get there and we're at work all the time that we don't have any luxury of rest or play or, time outside of work with family and friends. So we think that we can have one or the other. Do we have the luxury of time or do we have the luxury of working? So we want this and then we want this. It's like a yo-yo, a teeter-totter. It's all or none thinking. So here's what we think we want. We think we want to experience luxury without having to hold the space for the balance of it. We think we just want the good without the bad. It's like we want the dream home, but we don't want the dream home mortgage payment, right? We don't want the property taxes, and we don't want all those maintenance costs. Costs a lot of money to heat that big house, right? Costs a lot of money to clean that house. Costs a lot of time to clean that house. So we might want more time at work. We want the luxury of time at work, but we also want the impact. We want the impact, but we don't want the failures that come with impact. That's what we think we want. But here's what we actually want when we peel back the layers, okay? What we actually really want is we want, as humans, to have the capacity to experience the space for both. We want to be able to hold the pressure of all of the luxury, the balance of it. We want to be able to handle the pressure that comes with receiving support at our school and holding space for our capacity to organize, manage it, maintain it, lead it. Right? Pressure, the pressure that we feel and our capacity to hold that pressure is what creates balance. There is pressure in balance, right? If you're thinking of a teeter-totter, there's pressure on this side and there's pressure on this side. So for it to balance, there's equal pressure on both sides. There's no lack of pressure. It would just be sitting on the ground. There would be no teetering or tottering. It would just be, flat. But when you're on the teeter-totter, there has to be an equal amount of pressure on both sides. If there's one, it's this way. If there's one, it's that way, right? The pressure is what kind of holds us all together. This is the most tangible way I can describe it. Think about a box. Like, let's say you pick up, I wish I had one with me. Here, my water bottle, okay? Let's say this is a big box, right? And I'm going to carry a large box. Both of my hands have to be on, there's got to be pressure on this side and pressure on this side. If I pull, this falls down, right? Both hands must be applied to carry the box. If not, you're going to drop the box. So this is where we get into the land of and, the balance of life, the balance of leadership, the balance of our careers, the balance of the luxuries we have. It's not a matter of trading this for that, moving my left hand or moving my right hand. It's not paying tit for tat. That's not what luxury is. The truth is that you don't get to have, it's not one or the other. That's how we think about it, right? I can either be successful and work really, really hard and lose time with my family, or I can be really lazy and not contribute in value, but I'll have a lot of time on my hands. We think we can have money or time because we associate an exchange of time for money. Time does not create money. What you do with your time, who you're being, the value you're contributing creates money. Time, you can sit at your desk for 8 hours. That 8 hour, if you just sit there and do nothing, you have created no value. That time sitting your buns in the seat is not what gets you paid. It's what you do within the 8 hours that gets you paid. Okay. So this is another way to think about it. Think about people that you would define as having luxury items or a luxury lifestyle. There are people who have it all, right? They have the things, they have the external luxuries. They have the car, the house, they have a vacation home. They have lots of money in the bank, but they don't feel luxurious. It's because they're not in luxury energy. They're not in the abundance, in the gratitude of it, in the awe of it. This is how we create luxury at our schools. We're in awe of the luxuries we have. We're in awe of the people. We're in awe of the growth we did make. 40, let's say 47% of kids are on grade level. Be in awe of your teachers for doing that, in awe of students. And the 52 or 3 that are below, look at the progress they have made. Who cares if they're on the line or below it? Have they made progress? And if they haven't, be in awe that they're still showing up every day, even though school is so hard for them. And hold space for their potential. If someone slips a little bit, it doesn't mean it's forever. We all have slips. We all have mishaps. But there are people, and I feel like in education, we've stopped considering what a luxury it is to be a school leader, to be a teacher, to be a student. And I know you're taking a lot of shade from all the angles because of we've forgotten to be in alignment with the luxury that school leadership is, the luxury that education is, the luxury that teaching and learning is. Take away schools, shut everything down tomorrow. What will happen? Now it's a luxury. Parents are like, please open the school. I'm not going to tell you how to run it. Just please take my kid because I've got to get to work. Right? We've forgotten, but we can bring it back. We can be the spark that ignites the idea of luxury. So there's people who have it that don't feel it, don't experience it. And then there's people who don't have it, who do experience it because they desire it and they're in the anticipation of it and they're planning on receiving it, but they're also looking around for, what do I have? And I can be in luxury right now. So you can have what you label as luxury and also feel it. Or you can be surrounded by luxury and not feel it at all. You can desire to experience more luxury while also enjoying the luxuries you have. Or you can sit back and just resist luxury altogether. Believe you don't have access to it. It's not for you. Other people deserve it. Other people are more worthy. It's just not in the cards for you. And you can think it's not coming to you. And you can be like, and look, there's nothing luxurious in my life right now either. There you go. There's proof. Never had it, never will. So not being grateful for what is in your life that you could consider a luxury, and also negating and just resisting that it's even a possibility to create more in your future. So there's all those different angles. You can have it and be in complete luxury. You can have it and not be in luxury at all, just kind of overlooking it as like, yeah, yeah, that's just expected. You can not have it, but be grateful for the things you do have and desire for more, or you can resist it altogether in the having or in the anticipation of having. So luxury really comes down to our capacity to expand. Instead of seeing it as just the taking the good part and not wanting the bad, we can expand by holding space for the duality of both. And it really does grow us. We really do want to handle both. Like if you were, if the universe wrote you a check for $1 million right now and just handed it to you and said, here you are, tax free, could you hold the pressure of having the money, not spending it, not giving it all away because it's uncomfortable to have it, but could you just sit there with it and hold it until you come up with a plan and that every dollar that you choose to save or you choose to spend or pay off, whatever your plan is for it, that it's in the frequency of luxury. It's a luxury to write this check and pay off my credit card. Thank you, money. I'm so grateful. It's a luxury to let this money just sit in my bank account. It's a luxury to give myself permission to spend $1,000 today on whatever I want. Believing that it's possible for you to have more luxury in your life, the simple ones and the big ones. Appreciating the little things, the beautiful first snow. If you live where it's cold, you can appreciate the beauty of the snow. If you live where it's warm, you can appreciate the beauty of the warmth. If you celebrate Christmas, you can appreciate the beautiful lights on your tree. Or if your kids decorated the tree and it's all crazy like kids do, you can just appreciate that and the love that you feel for that tree because your children decorated it. Right? Being capable of handling the duality. That's what this is about. So the luxury leadership experience here, the duality of what we're looking for is enjoying our job as school leaders and holding space for those hard days and not making the hard days mean that you are insufficient or you're not cut out for school leadership, making it mean that you can handle hard days because you're a boss, right? Can you be paid as a valuable school leader? Expand your capacity to receive without needing to overwork, people please, over delegate, overschedule yourself, overexert, or trying to serve people from a place of obligation or resentment or frustration or disenfranchisement, right? Can you create value as a leader and still have space in your life outside of school leadership? Can you have both? Can you hold the duality of that? The luxury of being impactful here and having a beautiful life outside of school hours? Can you be a person of influence and impact without leading from fear, intimidation, coercion, placating people, fawning your boss, or faking it till you make it? Can you be authentic in your influence and impact? Duality, right? But how, we always say. How can we have hard days and still feel gratitude? It's been a rough year. How do we get anything done without overworking? How do we become the leader who creates all this impact without being consumed? The luxury is in the who, not in the how. How do you have hard days and feel gratitude? You acknowledge it was a hard day. And you also acknowledge that there's something in your life today to be grateful for, no matter what. If you want the and, create the and. This was a hard day. I'm not dismissing it. I maybe even cried on my way home from work. But when I got home and I was received by my family, or I came home to a quiet house because I live alone, and I should just be in the gratitude of that solitude or the gratitude of being received by my family. I live such a luxurious life. And tomorrow's a new day. How do we get everything done without overworking? We ground ourselves in purpose and in trust that we know how to prioritize and that today, what we got done today was what needed to get done today. And we trust that what needs to get done tomorrow will get done. Both. We do and we trust. Duality. How do we become the leader who creates impact without being overconsumed by what other people think? We align to our values and we use our values as a compass to genuinely care and listen to others and not make it mean about us all the time. We're not here to get accolades as a leader. We're here to serve. And we still serve them even when their opinion differs from ours. So let me wrap up here. I want you to think about tonight the duality of luxuries you most desire. Think about what kind of luxury you desire to have as a school leader. Is it the luxury of time? The luxury of more money, more income? The luxury of having more resources at your school? The luxury of having a voice, being heard? The luxury of freedom, the freedom to try new things at your school, the permission, the luxury of some rest, some respite coming up here on the upcoming break, right? What are the luxuries? Anything in your life can be a luxury. Anything in your career can be a luxury. The small luxuries, the big ones. What is the value of that luxury to you? What does it mean to you? What would it be? What would life be if you didn't have it? Running water, electricity, a warm bed, a car that works, gas in your car, shelter from the storm, love when you walk into your home, food on the table, a staff that shows up and teaches, subs that show up when they say they're going to show up. There's so much. What is the value of those luxuries? And then really feel the appreciation. And then what is the duality? And how are you holding pressure and holding space for both of those? Okay. So, what are the dualities that come with the luxuries that you desire? And how can we hold space for all of that? Right? There's so many luxuries. There's human resources, there's financial resources, there's curricular resources, material, there's freedom and flexibility, having, trust and faith, receiving trust and faith from your district administration. What a gift, what a luxury. Permission to try and fail. There's so many luxuries. So contemplate that tonight. And then tomorrow, we're going to dive into how to allow yourself to receive more luxury, to have more luxury, to be in the energy and the frequency of luxury, and to identify as a school that thrives and prioritizes a luxury experience. It's a wonderful thing to consider. I hope you found this enjoyable, luxurious, and helpful. I love this conversation. We're going to explore allowing luxury tomorrow. And for those of you who find this intriguing and interesting and you want to learn more, you are welcome to join EPC for the second half of the year. We're going to be doing the mid-year reboot in January. You can also just buy mid-year reboot a la carte. And tomorrow I will be sharing all of the links and the registration for both of those, for both EPC and the mid-year reboot. Contemplate this tonight. Have a beautiful evening, and we will be meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time if you're watching this live. Take care, enjoy, get your rest, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.